the king of late Cretaceous North America. Few prehistoric animals have captured the human imagination as powerfully as Tyrannosaurus rex. Its very name means Tyrant Lizard King, and for more than a century has stood as the ultimate symbol of the age of dinosaurs. But beyond the pop culture image of a roaring giant, T-Rex is one of the best studied extinct animals in the world. Through fossils, modern technology, and careful scientific debate, we have begun to understand not just what this animal looked like, but how it lived, hunted, grew, and ruled its ecosystem. Tyrannosaurus rex lived approximately 68 to 66 million years ago, during the final chapter of the Cretaceous period. Its fossils have been found primarily in what is now western North America, places like Montana, South Dakota, Alberta, and Saskatchewan. At that time, this region was part of a vast landmass called Laramidia, split from the rest of the continent by a shallow inland sea. Laramidia was rich in forests, river systems, floodplains, and coastal environments, a paradise for large herbivorous dinosaurs, and therefore the perfect hunting ground for a top predator. An adult T-Rex could reach around 12 to 13 meters in length and weigh between 8 and 9 tons. Its skull alone could be over 1.5 meters long, packed with around 60 thick serrated teeth designed not for slicing meat like a knife, but for crushing bone. In fact, bite force estimates suggest that T-Rex had the strongest bite of any known land animal in history. It didn't delicately carve prey. It bit down with such force that bones shattered, allowing it to consume nearly every part of a carcass. One of the most fascinating aspects of T-Rex is how different it was from earlier large carnivorous dinosaurs. Earlier predators like Allosaurus had longer arms, slimmer heads, and more lightly built bodies. T-Rex, by contrast, was built like a biological tank. Its massive skull, thick neck muscles, and heavy body indicate an evolutionary shift toward raw power. Even its famously tiny arms were incredibly strong for their size, likely able to lift hundreds of kilograms. They were not useless. They were simply not the main tools of attack. The discovery history of T-Rex adds another layer to its legendary status. The first partial skeleton was discovered in 1902 by Barnum Brown, a fossil hunter working for the American Museum of Natural History. When the species was officially named in 1905 by Henry Fairfield Osborn, it immediately became a scientific and public sensation. Newspapers wrote about it as if a dragon had been unearthed from the earth. Museums raced to display mounted skeletons. The image of the giant predator quickly entered books, posters, and eventually film. Over time, more complete skeletons were discovered, including famous specimens like Sue, Stan, and Scotty. These fossils allowed paleontologists to study growth patterns, injuries, and even signs of disease. Some skeletons show healed bite marks from other T-Rex individuals, suggesting intraspecies combat. Others show evidence of infections that the animal survived, demonstrating remarkable resilience. Modern technology has revealed even more. CT scans of skulls show complex sinus cavities that reduced weight while maintaining strength. Studies of bone growth rings indicate that T-Rex experienced rapid teenage growth spurts, gaining up to 2 kilograms per day during adolescence. This suggests that young T-Rex looked and behaved very differently from adults, slimmer, faster, and possibly hunting different prey. This idea of age-based ecological roles is something that modern audiences may recognize from games like Jurassic World Evolution 2. In the game, players manage dinosaurs at different life stages and observe how their needs and behaviors change over time. In reality, juvenile T-Rex may have filled a different predatory niche than their massive parents, reducing competition within their own species. As our understanding grows, Tyrannosaurus rex becomes less of a movie monster and more of a complex, dynamic animal. It was not simply large and scary. It was highly specialized, perfectly adapted to its environment, and part of a delicate ecological balance that lasted millions of years before vanishing in a mass extinction event. And this is only the beginning of the story. Anatomy of a perfect predator. The body of Tyrannosaurus rex was a masterpiece of evolutionary engineering. Every feature, from the shape of its skull to the proportions of its legs, reflects a predator refined by millions of years of natural selection. To understand why T-Rex dominated its ecosystem, we must look closely at how its body worked as a complete hunting machine. The skull of T-Rex is one of the most studied dinosaur skulls ever found. Unlike the long, narrow skulls of earlier theropods, the skull of T-Rex was deep and wide, built to withstand enormous stress. The bones were fused together tightly, preventing movement and allowing the skull to act as a single, solid structure. This design allowed the dinosaur to bite down with extreme force without risking injury to itself. Its teeth were not designed like the sharp blades of many predators. Instead, they were thick, banana-shaped spikes with serrated edges. These teeth were ideal for puncturing, gripping, and crushing. Fossilized bones of prey animals show clear T-Rex bite marks, some of which penetrated deep into bone. In some cases, broken teeth have been found embedded in the bones of herbivorous dinosaurs, evidence that T-Rex bit with such force that its own teeth sometimes snapped. Behind the skull was a powerful neck. Massive neck muscles helped stabilize the head and likely allowed T-Rex to shake its prey violently, similar to how modern crocodiles perform a death roll. This motion would tear flesh and break bones, making feeding efficient and brutal. The legs of T-Rex were long, muscular, and built for movement. While it was not a fast sprinter compared to smaller dinosaurs, it was capable of surprisingly efficient walking over long distances. Studies suggest that T-Rex may have traveled many kilometers a day while patrolling its territory. Its tail, long and heavy, acted as a counterbalance to the massive head, allowing the animal to maintain stability while moving. The famous tiny arms remain a subject of fascination. Though short, they were extremely muscular. Each hand had 2 clawed fingers. Biomechanical studies suggest these arms were strong enough to hold struggling prey or help the dinosaur push itself up from the ground. They may also have played a role in mating behavior or balance during feeding. One of the most important modern discoveries is evidence that T-Rex likely had feathers, at least during parts of its life. While adult T-Rex may not have been fully feathered, fossil relatives and skin impressions suggest that juveniles probably had a coat of primitive feathers. This challenges the traditional scaly image and connects T-Rex more closely to modern birds, which are its living descendants. In games like Jurassic World Evolution 2, players can customize dinosaur appearances, including feathered skins. This reflects real scientific discussions about how these animals may have looked. The line between game design and paleontology is thinner than many realize. All of these features together made T-Rex not just large, but efficient. It did not rely on speed or agility like some predators. Instead, it relied on strength, endurance, and overwhelming bite power, a strategy that worked extremely well in the lush ecosystems of late Cretaceous North America. Behavior, hunting, and intelligence. Understanding how T-Rex behaved is one of the greatest challenges in paleontology. Bones do not directly record behavior, but they leave clues. By studying injuries, tooth marks, trackways, and comparisons with modern animals, scientists can form educated hypotheses about how this predator lived. One long-standing debate is whether T-Rex was primarily a hunter or a scavenger. Today, most paleontologists agree that it was both. Its powerful sense of smell, indicated by large olfactory bulbs in its brain, would have allowed it to detect carcasses from great distances. At the same time, its forward-facing eyes provided depth perception, essential for hunting live prey. Fossil evidence shows healed bite wounds on herbivorous dinosaurs like Triceratops and Edmontosaurus, wounds that match T-Rex teeth. This suggests failed hunting attempts where prey escaped. Such evidence strongly supports active predation. Some scientists propose that juvenile T-Rex were faster and may have hunted smaller, quicker animals, while adults targeted large, heavily built herbivores. This division of roles would have reduced competition between age groups, an idea that aligns surprisingly well with how players observe dinosaur dynamics in management simulations like Jurassic World Evolution 2. There is also evidence that T-Rex may have been more intelligent than many other dinosaurs. Brain studies show relatively large brain size for a dinosaur, particularly in areas associated with sensory processing. It likely had excellent vision, hearing, and smell, a combination that made it a highly aware predator. Intraspecies interactions were likely complex. Bite marks on T-Rex fossils suggest fights between individuals, possibly over territory, mates, or food. Whether they lived in groups remains uncertain, but most evidence points to a largely solitary lifestyle, except perhaps during mating or when young were present. Extinction, legacy, and modern imagination. Around 66 million years ago, an asteroid impact triggered one of the most devastating extinction events in Earth's history. Forests burned, climates shifted, and food chains collapsed. Tyrannosaurus rex, like all non-avian dinosaurs, vanished. Yet in a sense, T-Rex never truly disappeared. Its closest living relatives, birds, still fill our skies. The same evolutionary lineage that produced the Tyrant king now perches on tree branches and city rooftops. Today, T-Rex lives on through science, museums, films, and interactive experiences like Jurassic World Evolution 2. In that game, players carefully design habitats, manage dinosaur health, and observe behaviors that are often inspired by real paleontological research. While fictional in many ways, such games help people engage with scientific ideas about ecosystems, behavior, and extinction. The image of T-Rex has evolved from a tail-dragging reptile to an active, bird-like predator covered in feathers. This transformation reflects how science is never static. Each new fossil discovery reshapes our understanding. Tyrannosaurus rex is no longer just a monster from prehistory. It is a window into evolution, ecology, and the deep history of life on Earth. Studying it teaches us not only about the past, but about how life adapts, thrives, and sometimes disappears. And that is why, more than a century after its discovery, the Tyrant Lizard King still reigns, not in the wild, but in our imagination and in the ever-growing world of science.